Hi, everyone. How's it going? My name is Alexandra Ambriano, and you are back for another live stream presented by The Growing Studio and Playbill for our College Theater Audition series. So I'm really excited today. We have two awesome guests with us. We have Laura Teeter from Webster University, and we have Sean Morrissey from Millikin University, and they are two awesome guests. I was just chatting with them, and they are chock full of information for everyone who is prepping for their musical theater auditions or just theater dance auditions, anything in that ball game. And they've got lots of information for you guys. So without further ado, I would love if we could bring them in. There they are now. Hi guys, how's it going?
It's going great.
Going well.
Thank you so much for being with us today. So I would love if we could just kick off. Sean, if you want to go first and just give a little intro about yourself, and then, what's going on with your university right now. Are you in school? Are you remote? Just talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm Sean Morrissey. I'm at Millikin University. Obviously, I'm in my now 22nd year at Millikin, so it's been I've been here for a lot of the growth that we've seen over the last few years. It's a really exciting time to be at Millikin, even with all of that's going on. I was just mentioning tell Lara and Ali that we have a brand new building that we just moved into. So we're so excited, and I can tell you more about that as the conversation unfolds. Right now, we're really dealing with what's going on with the pandemic and trying to react to what the world has been throwing our way. And what it's been demanding, the kind of changes that it's been demanding. So we're doing a lot of soul searching, and we're doing a lot of having a lot of conversations, meaningful conversations, to discuss how to best facilitate an environment where our students feel safe and fully supported in every way they can be. At the moment, we're doing a combination of hybrid, in-person, and fully digital delivery of our curriculum. We were really fortunate that our board and our administration gave the faculty the option to do what they felt was best to deliver the curriculum. So all of us are sort of doing things a little bit differently, which I think is good. And also kind of students are running from an in-person class to a hotspot on campus with their computer to do an online class. And it's a little bit crazy, but we're trying, so far everything has been working pretty well. Trying to keep people as healthy as we can. I can launch into all kinds of specifics about Millikin, but I don't know I don't want to dominate this time. So how about if I, toss it over to Lara, and he can tell you a little bit about what's going on at Webster, and then we can, just sort of unfold things as we go.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great. You guys could do this without me. My gosh. All right, Lara.
I actually just want to talk about Millikin for a second. It's an awesome place. And I think one of the things that Sean will agree with me on, and looking at some of the past shows that you guys have put up about this college audition, which have been awesome, looking at all my colleagues at the various schools, Syracuse, Ithaca, Manhattan School of Music, Marymount Manhattan, all these wonderful places, Boco, Montclair. We're all we all know each other. We all lift all the programs up. And I think that's important for auditioners to know. We really want to help you find the school that's right for you and the location that's right for you. So I'm going to riff a little bit on what Sean said. By the way, my name is Lara Teeter. My pronouns are he or him. I'd like to just say the name Daniel Prude. It's something that we started our day with ended our day with yesterday. With our chair sent out an email to the entire university and our conservatory saying that we are standing alongside our Black brothers and sisters and our students and our colleagues and our friends. And so we're saying his name today and every day. At the center of all this is the pandemic. Like Sean, we're doing a hybrid, although the conservatory, we've tried to be as centrist as possible. A lot of us are using Canvas, so we are able to Zoom through Canvas with those students who have chosen to stay in their private quarters to take class. So we've made accommodations for that. I'm happy to say, after 2 weeks of school, we're moving forward, and we've been in class, and the dance classes have been happening, and we've taped them out, and everybody's wearing their masks, and we're taking time to breathe and do an important thing to do.
We forget.
Breathe, and we're constantly encouraging the students to, it's in their hands to keep this momentum going, and to practice the washing of the hands and the social distancing and the wearing of masks. And they've been doing an awesome job so far. So a big shout out to our students. And we're here to answer any questions. I think what Sean talked about is really, we're just listening to our students right now. We're constantly checking in with them. We're constantly having conversations with them about what they need from us during this time. So it's really a time of reinvention. It's exciting, and it's a lot of hours, but in a strange way, we seem to have the energy to make it all happen. Sean, I'm sure you guys worked all summer trying to put things together. I mean, we really didn't have a summer break.
No.
But it's our vocation, it's our passion. We're here for the families and students who need help, and we're also here for those auditioning during this very strange time to answer questions.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. And I'm just wondering now, Sean, if you don't mind just briefly going over, just giving a little background on your program right now, typically how many students you'll take, and what your focuses are, if you're just straight musical theater, just the different programs that you have.
Great. So at Millikin, we have about 265 students in the School of Theater and Dance. The university itself is only about 2,000 students with undergraduate and graduate programs. So it's a very small institution. We are about 75 acres in size, so it takes about 4.5 minutes to walk from one side of campus to the other diagonally. So we're real compact, really, really tight, and it's a really close-knit community. So students really get to know each other from majors all across the campus. Although we'll see now that we're stuck in one building now that we love. How much?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the building is really amazing. It's about a 65,000 square foot facility on 3 levels that has I call the third floor the sweat level. It's got 2 dance studios and 4 acting studios and collaboration spaces for students to hang out, dressing rooms and that sort of thing, and a design classroom. The second floor is kind of the heartbeat, the administrative level. So faculty offices and conference rooms and things like that. We also have a Mac lab for our CAD students on the second floor, and a script library, which is a lending library for our students to access scripts. And then the first floor is a costume shop with all of the bells and whistles that they needed, with a wig room and a dye room and a craft room and a dressing room, a fitting room, and lots of room and dressing rooms. And then sort of the crown jewel of the building is a new courtyard style theater that's convertible, so we can configure it to be seating in the round, in thrust, proscenium, or in gallery configuration. It seats about 250 people, so it's really intimate. It's on 2 levels, so we have a balcony and an orchestra level. And the board at the last minute approved a huge increase in the budget, so we can get an orchestra pit and a trap room, so we can do full musicals in this really intimate, very, very cool space.
That's so
cool. Yeah, we also have a couple of outdoor performance spaces. There's an amphitheater that was built into the hill that's right next to the building. So we've got tiered seating in the hill that uses a sort of concrete pad with the building as the backdrop. And our large dance studio is on the 3rd floor on stilts that hangs out over the building with floor to ceiling windows that overlook the quad. It's a gorgeous view from in there. Huge light. And underneath that, it's a giant patio. So the patio space is also designed to be a performance space, which is where our first performance this semester will happen. At the end of the month, we're going to be doing Some Enchanted Evening, so that people can bring their lawn chairs out and sit on the quad and socially distance and see a live performance on the patio.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting for many years.
Oh my
My
God.
first year here was the first time they started saying, let's get a building for theater and dance. And I told you I've been here 22 years. So we've been waiting for time.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
it's awesome with that space, given everything right now, it's kind of like a crown jewel that you said it is kind of outdoors and you could have all of this, this opportunity with it. So that is awesome. I'm glad that you guys have that. That's great.
It was a real blessing that the faculty was very hands-on in being able to design this building with the architects and the consultants. So it's really great. And now it houses all 5 of our majors. We have BFAs in musical theater, acting, design, production, stage management, and we have a newly redesigned BA in theater and performance studies.
Awesome.
So those 5 degree programs can make up about 265 students. We look at taking a class instead of individual, like each major. We don't look at numbers for each major. We look at the entire incoming first year class. That's part of the philosophy of this program. We don't like to silo students into individual majors and make them stay there. We really kind of look at ourselves as a collective of artists working towards a common goal, which is to create the art that we're passionate about making. So a lot of times we have no idea. If I have a student in front of me who's auditioning for a show, I don't know what their major is, and I don't really care what their major is.
And I think that lends itself to, this world that we're coming into. You really have to be a multi-hyphenate artist. Yeah. Whether you're writing or producing your own work, especially in this time, that's something that we're hearing a lot is, sure, you're an actor, create your own work right now. How are you going to do that? So I think that's really important to whoever's watching to know, you don't have to put yourself into a box, and it's better to really, diversify yourself. So thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Laura, do you want to talk a little bit about your program?
Yeah, our programs are similar and different, which is what students should be looking at. We're also a very small school. It probably takes us 8 minutes to walk from one end to the other. We have in DTSM, which is Design, Tech, and Stage Management. In that major, we have a little over 100 in performance, which includes directing, musical theater, and acting. We have close to 100, a little less than 100. We're a little different than what Sean offers. We do audition for the musical BFA in musical theater, BFA in acting, and although the actors are cast in the musicals, the musical theater majors are cast in the plays. Our spaces, we have 3 performance spaces that we've used now for many, many years. The conservatory is about 52 years old. We share our main stage with the Opera Theater St. Louis and with the St. Louis Repertory Theater. They started 53 years ago. We started 52 years ago because our dean at the time and the president of the university wanted us to have a conservatory that was based in professional theater, not academic theater. So we have a lot of professional partners in the Muni Theater, the oldest and largest outdoor summer stock house in the country, Shakespeare Festival St. Louis, Variety Theater, which works with kids and teens with disability. We do a full musical with them every year with a full orchestra, union sets, Union House. That's actually Roadhouse here in St. Louis. My students work with me in those shows. And then we also have the Lyceum Theater, which is in Arrow Rock. And it is one of our alums is the artistic director, and he gives equity cards right now to a lot of our students. And the focus of our program, it's an 8-semester, 4-year sequence. The first year is discovery. The second year is exploration. The third year is application, and then refinement in the 4th year. So we have a very classical theater training 8-semester sequence. We have guest directors and artists constantly throughout our seasons. Our season selection has student reps from every department on it. So they start in the fall and they learn what it's like to produce theater. So they have a big voice in our season selection for every year that's coming down the pike. We're doing 2 on-the-ground shows, Canfield Drive, which is out of the Black Repertory Theater here in St. Louis. Ron Himes, the artistic director, will be directing that. We're doing The Living, and then that's also on the ground directed by Jenifer Lewis.
That's timely. Yeah, the living.
Yeah, the living. It's very timely. And we're doing the virtual production is a new musical out of LA called Deadly, which Cesar Samoa, who it just is one of the performers in Come From Away. He's also a writer and a director. He's going to be directing virtually with us.
Oh, cool.
As is our musical director. So we're actually learning about theater we've committed to doing that virtually.
Yeah.
And then our spring semester is TBD right now. We've got a couple of choices, a big musical we're waiting to hear about. But that's the long and short of where we're at right now.
I love that.
On your building. I mean, I felt so victorious through your victory, because I know a lot of programs out there are cheering you on and hoping for their program to do something similar. And I know it was a long road, so congratulations. I look forward to seeing that someday.
Yeah, you should come up and see it. You're only 2 hours down the road. So, you know, we also have 2 of your alums on our faculty. So, you know, we have a good connection with Webster.
And who is that? You have to remind me.
Angie and Alex Miller.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Such a small world.
Yeah.
So
they met at Webster and then went on, did grad school at Alex went to George Washington, and Angie was from U of I, did their grad work there. But
fantastic.
Yeah.
So full circle. So I actually have Boris Anthony York, who's waiting to come on to ask you guys a question. So whenever, let's see, he should be hopping on any second. There he is.
Hey.
Hi, Boris. Can you just introduce yourself and then ask any questions you have?
Sure, yeah. My name is Boris Anthony York. I am a graduate of Webster Conservatory. I graduated in 2011 and have, you know, been working ever since. I just love listening to the comments that were just said about both of the programs. I think it's really, really wonderful. I would love just to know how are you handling I know Larry spoke about the virtual musical. How are you going about handling such a task?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I'm writing a book. My students know that every day I say, so my new book is, I've not written any books, but if I could write a book, it would be one click away from being right. Because it seems like every day it's that click in order to get something working. And I think this virtual thing, we're in it right now. And I think every day somebody goes, oh, have you looked at this new technology where you can get people singing together in a virtual sense? I know that our director Caesar is looking at the live stream that was done, the video that was done from Songs of a New World, the Jason Robert Brown. There was a recent showing of that, and so he's using that sort of for our technicians and our designers to look at technically. So it's something we've never done it before. So we're asking patience from our students and our designers. And our production team is constantly like working on what they can do to make it happen. I will have a lot to say about it, Boris, when we've done it. But I've just been in the classroom, hitting the ground running, and Caesar and I have talked briefly, but not really about how he's going to do it. More about casting and some things like that. So it's going to be good for us because, as you know, Boris, this is the fact that we're doing a new musical. I mean, it hasn't been done since I've been here for 13 years. I think the last time they tried it was 20 years ago. So that's a huge thing. And then to do a virtual production, which everybody's learning from right now, you know, except for the Berkshires where they did Godspell, we're using that as a template as well, right?
Yeah.
But, so it's an exciting time. Just every day I walk into the office, there's an email about something new that I've not thought of or not looked at. So
I would say exhausting and exhilarating all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing something similar where we're we're going to try live streaming.
Yep.
We're doing a couple of live performances outdoors. And then we're going to be filming Songs for a New World, actually. We'll be filming that, and that will be presented at a later date, but it will be streamed online.
I have a feeling
we will film it live in the theater.
I have a feeling that show's going to be done a lot these days.
Yeah.
It will work in this world, right?
Right.
And it's just great music.
Yeah, it is.
That's exciting.
So, yeah, it's, we're just kind of running with it. We're, seeing it's a completely new, none of us know what we're doing. Sort of like out there, you've been handed this bag of stuff, and they're like, which is what theater artists do. It's like, there's some challenges. Oh, the theater burned down. What are you going to do? Well, let's go do it somewhere else.
Show must go on.
Exactly. One of the quotes we've been using is champions adjust. We theater artists are champions in a way, because we're always being thrown a different budget, or we're being thrown a new casting choice, or we're being thrown something. So it's actually, in a lot of ways, it's training our students to be resilient and tenacious. Good to see you, Boris. You look great.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boris. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, great. Awesome. So I was just wondering if you folks would be willing to talk a little bit about, and it's okay if you don't know the answers to these questions yet, but how you see your audition process moving forward for this year. Our initial screening is going to be just completely online for right now. And I feel like at least I'm hearing, there's more opportunity now in this Zoom virtual world for things. Like Laura, you were talking about how now you have the opportunity for Caesar to direct virtually, which is something you might not have had in the normal world. Normal, I use loosely, but just how you're kind of navigating that situation.
Yeah, I'll go first. We're for the first time in our history, we're doing pre-screens through Accepted.
Okay.
And then this year, Accepted has created what they're calling the audition room, which is you submit your pre-screen starting October 1st. And every week we will look at, near the end of the week, we'll look at those auditions, those pre-screens. And then those that we're interested in seeing more from will be contacted the Monday of the following week, Monday or Tuesday of the following week. They will be given an audition date and time to choose from. And then that's room 2, that's audition room. And in that audition, it will be a Zoom audition, but there are requirements that are listed, have your accompaniment recorded, or if you are in a room with a piano, there will be faculty who will be in that room. There's a waiting room where students will be there. Our students will be there to answer questions, and so then you're up next, and then you come into the room, you do your audition, and then there is follow-up from there. So this is new. And again, I think that it's a great entry into this world, because all of our students right now, we have a mission statement and we added in a digital world, because they have to learn all of these things and the techniques of auditioning, for instance, in the digital world. Mm-hmm. And this class of 2020 had to learn it a little bit. Yeah. And this class of 2021, our rising seniors right now are able to kind of learn about that. And I just want to say one last thing. For those of you who are considering auditioning for musical theater or theater, there are very great, simple, like 101 tutorials online about how to make a good audition video. And it's just very simple about, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can use your iPhone, but the do's and don'ts of lighting, the do's and don'ts of backdrop, and the do's and don'ts of what to wear. And I will tell you that you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can buy a lighting equipment, but that's going to help you in this world. If everything is looking good, if it's sounding good, we're learning that sound, actually people will respond to sound in a more positive way than if it all looks good and they can't quite hear well. So make sure the sound quality is good for your pre-screens, and you should do just fine. And I think Sean will say this, if anybody has any questions about auditioning in general feel free to email me, or feel free to, if you have questions about Webster, obviously. But I like talking to students and parents just about this general audition process, not just about Webster. I usually start my conversations about, I ask for the list of schools and talk about what's your approach, what's your game plan, having a schedule, having a spreadsheet, knowing what the deadlines are, simple stuff like that students might not be aware that they need to do.
Yeah.
Sean.
Well, we too are a pre-screen school, but with all that's been going on this year, we've decided to suspend the pre-screen this year. And we are going to do all digital auditions. And we have opted not, and we may regret it, but we're
learning.
Yeah, so basically we're going to look at every submission that we get as a direct admission into one of our BFA programs instead of weeding people out.
Right.
Because we're like, well, we can't have campus auditions this year. We can't bring them to campus. So why not just see everybody who wants to be seen? So, but we're going to be, instead of holding live Zoom auditions, we will be doing this all through video submissions. If there's something that we don't see that we want to see from a student, we'll reach out to that student and ask them for a callback, and they can submit additional materials.
Right.
And we will be specific about what kinds of things we'd like to see. We did that really successfully last spring with we lost our last 2 campus audition days to this COVID thing. So we were able to just send some kids and say, I like your monologue, here's some notes. Can you make these adjustments and reshoot it for us? And they did, and sent them back. And it worked out very well for us. So we're going to go that route this year and see how that works. It's just sort of like trying to keep all of the plates spinning and all of the bowling balls in the air, so we'll see what happens with that. But our website is loaded with information on what we're looking for in an audition. We're allowing students who are auditioning for programs like Webster that are going to pre-screen this year to use that pre-screen as your audition instead of using only our criteria. You have a choice to use either or. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for students to, less time involved, less effort. But I totally agree with Lara. Do your research on how to shoot a good video, because the quality of your lighting and sound is really going to be important.
Yeah. So important right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you both. So up next, I want to bring someone else in. So we have Lydia Burke, who's going to pop on. It seems like Sean might know her.
I know.
Yes, a familiar face.
Yeah.
To ask a question as well. And then she should be hopping in any moment. Lydia, are you there? Maybe we're having some technical difficulties.
Here comes Lydia. And now.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Well, while we're waiting for Lydia or Anthony, if Anthony is available, do I have to add myself in? Lydia is wondering. You know what? We're going to circle back to Lydia in just a second. I think they're trying to figure out some technical stuff. And this is a perfect example of this crazy bananas technical world that we are finding ourselves in. So we will circle back with Lydia in just a second. But I want to get as many, live questions on as possible for the day. But I do have a question that someone submitted online. And they are asking, what are most colleges looking for in the auditions, and how do I stand out in the audition room? We love that question.
Yeah. This sounds so simple, and it sounds like we're lying, but we're not. To be your most authentic self. We want to see you. Lydia!
There she is.
Yes. How are you?
Oh, and Anthony's also.
And Anthony, too. Awesome. Lydia and Anthony are 2 of our alums. There he is.
Sorry.
That's right.
It's okay. So we'll put a pin in that for now, so we can get to Lydia and Anthony.
Go back to that question.
Yeah.
So Anthony graduated from Millikin in 2015, and Lydia graduated in 2017. Anthony is based in New York and Lydia is based in Chicago. And I thought they would make a great sort of team to give you different experience or different ideas of you know, how working in different markets works.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific thing you want to hear from them, or do you want to just let them riff?
I would love to just let them riff. And I mean, if you folks want to talk a little bit about your experience at Millikin, what you studied, and just also, I think it would be great for students to know, especially, you know, when they come to the end of their college career, where to go from there. You know, which market do I see myself kind of fitting into? So if you can talk.
Don't go to a market. Just it's not worth it.
Or that too. Either or. So just anything along those lines, I think would be great for our viewers.
Go ahead, Lydia.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily have like the standard of experience of like starting out as like a freshman first semester. I actually transferred into Millikin halfway through freshman year.
So it's possible. It's possible to do that too.
It is. I mean, one of the main things I think, if I have to give like a piece of advice, it's just like go where you feel like you're led to go and that you're going to be a fit in. So for me, I went to a different place initially and it just wasn't a fit. And like, don't be afraid to actually find the place that is a good fit for you. And for me, when I went and visited Millikin, I said, well, guess this is it.
This
And
is it.
I moved in and then I auditioned. And yeah, and then the rest was history. What's really nice, I think, is the fact that the community was the thing that stood out to me. So I moved in, auditioned the next day, and then had to plan all of my classes and my class schedule like right after my audition.
Oh my God.
And like, I was very nervous on whether or not I would be accepted into the community.
Sure.
And we call it the Miller bubble. You hear that a lot, but the Miller bubble was like very accepting to me, and that's something that I think is very unique to my experience there, just because of the fact that I started later than everyone else, and everyone had their like groups, but it was really easy to just fly in there, and then everyone was a really good support system, professors, students alike. That's another thing that I love is that not only are your teachers your resources, but your other students are always willing to help you as well. Especially when I came to like my first audition for the shows for the semester, because I was there for 24 hours and had to figure everything out. People were like running in and out of my dorm trying to help me like get all of the requirements that I needed to get. And that to me just really spoke volumes. So then I just chose to embrace it, and now here we are. I just love the fact that I was able to make the most out of my education and what I wanted to get out of it. I know the program is changing a little bit now, but the fact that I was able to like not only take musical theater classes and core classes, I was also able to continue studying a couple of other things that I found fascinating. Like for me, I also studied Spanish. So then I got the opportunity to merge those two together and taught with Spanish theater and Latin American theater. So that was a really cool opportunity that I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else. You know?
Yeah, that's definitely very niche. I love that. And how is Chicago?
I love it. It's great. It's a beautiful day here, finally.
Oh, Chicago is like one of the best cities on the planet.
Oh,
I mean, the opportunities there for our students who have gone there, Lydia, it's so great. But it's a vibe, right? It's a vibe. It's different from LA or Seattle or New York, that other place called New York.
yeah.
But it's the right fit for a lot of our students as well. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. One of the things that I really love about Chicago is the fact that you can seek out opportunities a lot easier, I feel like, than a lot of other areas of the industry.
It's extremely accessible.
Yeah.
That's why I love it. I love Chicago.
Or the fact that if an opportunity isn't here, it's really easy to make it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like just something else on your own. There's so many different wonderful spaces here that are, like Anthony said, easily accessible to people, very like cheap, very open, to all types of artists. So that's really cool. And they're really adapting to what's happening right now. I've been very fortunate to where I'm like on my 3rd or 4th project right now during quarantine.
Oh my God.
I'm like about to do an outdoor cabaret, but I just did taping for a virtual concert.
That's so cool.
So yeah, the fact that the city's like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Different ways to adapt has been really, really cool. I've been very fortunate with that.
Do you know Erica Steffen, by the way? Have you worked with Erica Steffen?
I haven't gotten to work with her yet.
I love Erica Steffen.
Yeah, she was supposed to come today, but she couldn't because she's helping her sister with her wedding. And I was like, what? What?
Classic
Her marriage.
You guys look like you would like know her and love her. And
I met her after a show. Like she came and saw just sophisticated ladies, and we had never fully met each other.
Yeah.
Another thing I think about the Chicago industry is the fact that you'll know about people, and then as soon as you meet them, it's like, oh my gosh, it's you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Anthony, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I actually grew up in Chicago. I grew up in the city, and I didn't start doing theater until high school. And so when it came time for senior year to like start auditioning and stuff, I thought I was going to go to school for jazz studies for saxophone.
Wow.
So I grew up playing music and multiple instruments, but I was going to study sax in college because that's what my siblings did. And I started auditioning for colleges, and I auditioned at, I think, 4 or 5 of them. I had no idea what I was doing. I sang If I Loved You from Carousel, and I did a monologue from, I don't remember, but I know it really wasn't right. Nothing I did was right for me, and I had never danced before. And so Millikin luckily took me, and so I kind of learned everything at Millikin. I learned how to dance. I learned how to act and sing. I just kind of learned everything there. And the best part about Millikin for me was that, talking about accessibility, it was everything I wanted to do and accomplish was there for me in terms of resources, faculty, other students. It's just everything was there. And so there was opportunity everywhere, which was amazing. And I was just learning as I was learning as I went, it just, everything started to make more sense. And I was like, wow, I really ended up where I was supposed to be. And so after I graduated, I moved back to Chicago because I had a couple gigs lined up, fortunately. And then about 6 or so months after I graduated, 3 months after I graduated, I got an audition for the Newsies tour, which was the first and only tour that was happening. And I didn't get it because my dancing wasn't strong enough. And then about 3 or 4 months later, after that first audition, I started taking private dance lessons and really started to like work on it. About 3 or 4 months later, I got another audition for it and I booked it. And then I got to do the Newsies tour. So that put me in the market in New York. And I was like, great, now I have a reason to move there. And so I moved here, and after a year of many no's and it should have been the project thing, I booked the prom on Broadway, and that was my Broadway debut. And that was just one of those things where I just did not see it coming, and still to this day wonder how it happened, but extremely grateful. And it was like, it was a thing that changed my whole life, because from that came my new agent that I'm with, and the TV shows that I'm doing right now. It's just everything came from that, and I'm just so lucky to have been a part of that experience. And like Lydia said, I've also been very lucky to work during quarantine. There's a new Netflix series coming out called Social Distance that I got to do an episode of. There's a new Joni Mitchell musical that's going to be in the process of being created that I'm going to be a part of. And it's just, I think I literally owe everything to the prom. The prom and Millikin.
And Millikin.
And you work with 2 St. Louis boys, Drew Reddington and Jack Sipple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
Yeah, those guys are great.
They're amazing. They're the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I hope they're watching.
they are.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much for coming on and talking about your experience. And it sounds like you're both doing amazing things, which just shows that your experience really was worth it. So thank you both so much and stay well through all of this.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. Take care. Oh, they were so lovely. Oh my God.
You know what's really cool is that, and people always ask me this about Millikin, why have I stayed on the prairie for 22 years? I mean, I grew up in Philadelphia and my career was based out of New York too. So it really is the students. Those two are so quintessentially Millikin. We just attract these kids who have their feet firmly planted on the ground. They understand the value of please and thank you. They're just tremendous human beings. And I knock wood every single time I say it because I'm always afraid that that's going to go away. But they're all like that. We have classes and classes of kids that are just like Anthony and Lydia. So we're really, really fortunate.
Great.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I would have to echo that saying, the Heart Center, every day I walk in and put my key in the door, I think two things. I hope I rise to the level of mastery that my colleagues have in teaching, and that I can't wait to get in the room with the students. So.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, it's just a testament to how amazing you guys are. So I just would love if we could take a moment and you guys, I know we circled back from that question before about, how to stand out and be unique, especially in this college audition process. But something I wanted to talk about too is what are your schools doing to be inclusive? And, not maybe being very, checking boxes and, going with stereotypes, but how are you making an effort to really be inclusive and make students feel welcome and, celebrated by their differences?
I'll start, Sean.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right after the tragic death of George Floyd, this country moved into one of the largest movements that the world has ever seen. And like a lot of the programs, we are very grateful to some of our alums and our current students, BIPOC students, who got together and sent the conservatory a petition, really kind of asking us, calling us to task to move forward and to end some of the systemic racism that they felt was inherent in this program. And we listened with open hearts. Our response started out by thanking our alumni and our current students who found a voice for those people who they felt were underserved. And since that day and throughout the summer, we've been training in anti-racist theater. We've been taking workshops. We've been reading a lot. We've been discussing a lot. A lot of our faculty and students have been, on ground zero with some of the protesting that's been happening. And so we are constantly, like I said earlier, always checking in with our students to see if there's something that we're not doing or something we're not saying or something that we need to do to make them feel supported in every way. And so we are having, in the fourth year the other day, Gossett, this trans person came on virtually to talk to our fourth year auditions class. And that was hugely informative. I ended with a question of like, what can the teachers do? What can we do to help support our students who are trans, BIPOC? And again, he just mentioned, you must listen, do everything you can to utilize pronouns in the correct way. And so we are, I'm sure like Sean, like so many of the programs right now, have been shaken down. And it's exhausting and exciting. it's a new world. Sean and I are both white privileged men, and so we are representative in so many ways of that systemic problem that needs to be taken care of. So how we teach our classes, the material we're looking at, the seasons that we pick, the casting, also in recruitment, we're asking our administration to help generate more interest in those underserved communities so that we can go and outreach, provide more funding. And so we're doing everything we can humanly possible, and yet we're always saying, is there anything more that we can be doing for today that we didn't consider yesterday?
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing, constant conversation, and it's a constant reminder of where we're heading and where we are and where we're headed.
Great. Sounds amazing. And I think, you know, what you said, keeping an open dialogue is so important, because we may think we're doing everything in our power, but, you know, something may come up, and just to keep that option open for people to say, hey, let's talk about this. This is how I feel, and that you're being so available to your students and community is incredible. Sean, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, well, I agree with everything that Lara just said, and I think you know, there's a long way to go before we've sort of eliminated any traces of the systemic racism. Our students and our alums are also holding our feet to the fire, and are expecting that we make changes. And I think the director of our school has, we typically meet every week for a faculty meeting. You know, our faculty meets every week. Well, every other meeting is now going to be focused on issues of racism. So we're, as a faculty, working with the administration, brought in an organization called the Cultural Intelligence Center to do workshops with the entire faculty at Millikin. And they have given us tools to be working on individually so that we can all continue to work on that sort of thing. We're doing a lot of reading and talking and having hard conversations, and really wanting to listen to our students. As I said before, I think that for a lot of us, I mean, it's really identifying the things that we didn't know were offensive to students. You know, that you say things that I didn't know that was a microaggression. Yeah. So taking time to learn the things that come out of your mouth and how they're affecting other people is really important. So we're really trying to do a lot more of that. And then I think for us, we've been trying for a long time to attract more students of color. We have done some very specific things in our strategic plan to try to increase that. But one of the things that we're always struggling with is our location. We are in the middle of nowhere, and there is corn and soybeans everywhere around Illinois. So it's really hard to attract students to a town like this, that, you know, and we're also an expensive private school. So we have a lot of things that work against us when we're trying to attract students of color. So we're really trying to figure out how we can navigate that and make this environment more attractive, because we see tons, we accept students left and right, but they choose to, you know, they find other schools to be a better fit. Sure. For whatever reason that is. And the fit, Lydia said it, the fit is essential. Yeah. You know, like the really one thing I can impart to anybody who's listening to this right now is trust your gut and go to a school that you feel is going to be home for you. Because if you don't, it's going to be a long 4 years.
And you'll feel it.
You get on a campus, and every campus has a different vibe. And if that vibe is not right for you, then you should trust that instinct. Even if that school was your number one choice on paper, trust your gut and go with where you feel like where you're going to be welcomed and supported, and where you're going to thrive.
Right, clicks. I went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I must have visited like 10 schools before that. And of course, Rutgers was the last one I went to. And I stepped on campus, and I looked at my parents, and I was like, this is it. And I don't even know how to explain why it is, but it just clicks, and everything else falls into place after that. Thank you so much for that. And I think what you're saying, acknowledging these things that stand in your way, like you said, your location, it's a small, private, expensive school. So just acknowledging that is the first step in figuring out, how do we combat this issue? We just have a couple more minutes. So if there was anything that you guys wanted to just add, any advice, last minute advice that you would like to share to any of our students watching for this upcoming school year and these unprecedented times, I think that would be really beneficial.
I would just say quickly, don't hesitate to reach out to these programs and the teachers and the faculty. I think all of us have very different schedules. I know I can only speak for myself and my program. I answer every email. I like talking to parents. I spend a lot of time talking to students and parents, like I said, not just about Webster, but about Millikin and about Florida State and about Michigan and CCM and OCU and OU and Ithaca and Baldwin Wallace and Elon. So I think that it's important to know that you can reach out if you have questions about a program, and then I know Sean will agree, we can set you up with students. We love our students are our best ambassadors.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We have a team of students who are just waiting by their email or Facebook to talk to other students who are interested in coming to Webster. And a lot of them know each other. It's like, oh, you're thinking about Millikin? Oh, I have one of my best friends is going to school at Millikin. Yeah. I love it there. So I think there's a camaraderie in the programs that a lot of students out there might not know exists.
Yeah.
There's a healthy competition, but at the beginning and end of every day, Sean, myself, we want the right fit for you. And it's not for everybody. Millikin's not for everybody. But if it's the right fit, then let's talk. So
doesn't matter how badly we want a student. It's about how badly they want us.
Yes.
And that's it. And I would also say, again, I can't say it enough, be the most authentic version of yourself, not the most authentic version of LaShawn's or Audrey McDonald or the world already has them.
Yeah.
The reason why we have them, the reason why they are who they are is because they are true to themselves.
Yeah, undeniably.
So I'm trying to be somebody else when you're auditioning and just, the right fit will come at the right time.
Yeah. Amen to that. I think that's a great place to end. So Sean Morrissey from Millikin University and Laura Teeter from Webster Conservatory, thank you both so much for being a part of this. This is actually our last live stream part of this series. So I think it was a great note to end on. You both were wonderful and full of knowledge. And I think our viewers are really going to benefit from this. And thank you to all of our guests who hopped on throughout the broadcast and provided some insight as well. We really appreciate it. And I just want to encourage everyone to just follow our Instagram handle, The Growing Studio, as well as Playbill. It's just there they are at the bottom. I love technology these days. And feel free to, follow along on there and reach out to see any upcoming programming we might have, as well as these folks who have made themselves so accessible. I encourage you all watching to reach out and it can't hurt. What's the worst thing that could happen? They don't answer you? Someone will, and we'll figure this out and you'll find the right fit. So good luck to everyone going through that college audition process. And thank you both so much and have a great Labor Day weekend.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
It's a pleasure.
Nice to see you, Sean.
Yeah, you too, Lara. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, folks. Take care.
See ya.